Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and one of my favorite mechanics in the games is the day to night transition. I think that's what really makes Pokemon such a great series. Not just do we have some Pokemon that evolve during certain times of the day, but also we have some Pokemon who appear at different points of the day. Some come at night, and some come in the morning or day. This is why I think the night and day mechanic works amazingly. While the night and day mechanic have been on full display since the second generation of Pokemon, I honestly feel the time that they were the best was in the Alola games, where you could play under the Alolan moon or even under the Alolan sun. It didn't matter if you're a night owl or an early bird. Either way you play, your adventure continues. And it also was a fun idea, making it that you could play in either the day or the night, depending on what version you had. But looking back, I think that the idea of day and night was genius, as we got to be introduced to a lot of nocturnal Pokemon. But also, what I think is pretty funny is, back in those days, only the Dark type, which was a brand new typing, could be found at night. When looking back at the Johto region, it sure introduced a lot of Pokemon, 100 to be exact. And with that extra number on top of the original 150, a lot of them have come back for so many games. But, in my opinion, I think the one line that I've always taken with me on my Johto journey, and I cannot help but catch, is one of my favorite lines that was introduced. And of course, knowing me, it's a bird line. I'm of course talking about the little night owls themselves, Hoothoot and Noctowl. I gotta say, for the very first owl Pokemon, they went a great mile. I also really like the idea that these Pokemon have to do with time, as if you look carefully, one of them, it looks like a bit of a clock, and the other one is somewhat relevant of a grandfather clock. With every region, we're always introduced to the regional bird, and that of course is this line, with Hoothoot and Noctowl. But for so many of us, Hoothoot may have been the very first Pokemon that we ever encountered on our Johto journey. If you played Gold, Silver, Crystal, or the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver at night, there's a very high chance that you encountered a Hoothoot in the tall grass. It's like as if this Pokemon was saying, "Welcome to Johto, hope you're ready for a brand new Pokemon adventure. Haven't seen me before? Well, I'm new." All in all, I think that this was a really good introduction, not just to the whole region, but also the idea of the time mechanic, since these guys only came out during the night. Everything about these owls makes them really amazing. I'm just kind of surprised that, other than this line with Rowlet, Dartrix, and Decidueye, how have we not gotten any more owls? They deserve so much more love. Well, I'm glad that this was the very first owl line ever, because they really started on a very high note. Also, seeing both my Noctowl and Hoothoot ready to stretch and enjoy themselves reminds me, it's starting to get very late. Are you a night owl, or are you more of an early bird? Either way it goes, these are some really fun Pokemon to talk about. So yeah, let's talk about these owls and see what makes the nightlife so amazing. But before we start, I want to give a very special thanks and shout out to artist HTTP Koopa for my jersey. Today's jersey is the flying type jersey. Since we're talking about bird Pokemon, and I really love bird Pokemon which are also flying type, what's a better shirt to wear than this one? If you like the jerseys that I wear in my videos, you can buy them from him on his Etsy shop. I have a link to it in the description below, so check him out and maybe buy a shirt or see what other stuff he does. And also remember to say, Professor Palm sent ya. I may not be sponsored, but I still want to say thanks for all you've done. Whether you're an early bird under the sun or a night owl under the moon, you can't deny that all of us have different times that we like to be around during the light. So let's talk about the very first nocturnal Pokemon ever. Let's start off with the little owlet itself, Hoothoot! Hoothoot the owl Pokemon is based on a horned owl. For the exact species, it's based on a Eurasian eagle owl due to its red eyes. Hoothoot is also based on clocks, as its round body is the shape of a clock's face. The two prongs on its crest resemble the clock's hands, and of course, the markings around its eyes resemble the gears. If you wish to find a Hoothoot in the wild, they can be found nesting in trees and making their homes within the forest. Hoothoot are nocturnal, so the only time you'll find them is at night, as they prefer to sleep during the day. Also, they sleep in holes that they carve with their beaks in the trees. Also, if you want to know what Hoothoot enjoy, they have a diet where they really enjoy eating grubbin. As you can see, Hoothoot has 2 feet. However, they often only stand on 1 foot, and it looks like that they only have 1 foot. This is only done to keep the balance, as standing on 2 feet makes them feel uneasy. Hoothoot change their feet so fast that their movement is rarely seen. It's also said that the way they change their feet is very similar to that of a pendulum on a clock. Studies have shown that Hoothoot has a special internal organ that senses and tracks the Earth's rotation. Using this special organ, Hoothoot begin hooting at a precise time every single day. Speaking of hooting, some studies have suggested that Hoothoot do what they do for communication with other Hoothoot in the area. It's possible for them that they're all trying to be in sync and stay within the time. The idea of clocks came from Hoothoot itself. In fact, some legend states that the very first clock ever was built and resembled this beautiful owl Pokemon. Every day, Hoothoot tilts its head with the same rhythm. A long time ago, people raised these Pokemon to serve as clocks. It was cherished by so many of them who considered Hoothoot to be a divine messenger sent by the being of time. With its ability to know everything at the right time, Hoothoot is one of the most prepared Pokemon alive. Some regions consider this to be a wise friend and a good traveling companion to those who are about to set off on their journey. Also, because of all of the knowledge that Hoothoot can learn very easily, it's said that this Pokemon can adapt within only an hour. Hoothoot are surprisingly organized Pokemon, as they love things in order. Some of them even work in libraries and even bookstores, where they know where everything goes and they enjoy learning anything they can do. In fact, in the Galar region, the company Bookmark depicts Hoothoot on their logo because so many of them work there. Hoothoot's big red eyes are like glasses, as they can see everything clearly in either the day or the night. It's believed that because of this, Hoothoot can see more colors than anyone else can. In the olden days of the Johto region, many Hoothoot were mail carriers, and to this day, some of them still do that. Back then, they were known as mail owls. Hoothoot made its anime debut in the Pokemon Johto Journey series episode, Illusion Confusion, where they were under the ownership of Hagatha and Nagatha. These two rented Hoothoot to so many people to get through the Haunted Forest, which included Ash and his friends and Gary Oak. With the ability to tell time and being one of the most wisest Pokemon, Hoothoot has so much going for it. But it gets even stronger and even more intelligent once it evolves. So, let's do that. Let's evolve our little Hoothoot into Noctowl. This is one of the coolest flying type Pokemon alive, and it's also one of the smartest. Now, let's take a night flight with Noctowl. Noctowl the owl Pokemon is based on a horned owl. The feathers that make up its horns resemble a large pair of bushy eyebrows, which can be interpreted as a sign of age and wisdom, which is a trait that are usually associated with owls. Noctowl make their habitat by nesting in trees in temperate as well as boreal forests, but being nocturnal Pokemon, Noctowl are only active during the night. It gets along very well with humans. In fact, in the Kitakami region, Noctowl serves as the region's flying taxi service. Being an owl, Noctowl can turn its head 180 degrees. So yeah, nothing, not even a trainer, can sneak up on it when it can see all sides of its body. However, this is done when Noctowl needs to think. It sharpens not only its mind, but also its psychic powers, despite not being a psychic type Pokemon. Noctowl's big wings are extremely soft to the touch, but they're so soft they don't even make a single sound when in flight. In fact, you'd never know if one was chasing you or even following you. It silently sneaks up on prey without being detected. Because of how silent and how strong it is, some people even call it the Emperor of the Dark Night. Noctowl's eyes have superior vision, as these Pokemon can see clear as crystal no matter what time of the day it is. It doesn't matter if it's a very bright day or even the darkest of nights, Noctowl will see everything and never have any problem seeing where it's going. Speaking of their amazing eyesight, Noctowl will never let its prey escape, no matter what time of the day it is. Once they've made eye contact and decided that they're a prey, Noctowl will become relentless until it catches its prey to make a meal out of. Noctowl are also very patient Pokemon. When it turns its head upside down, you know that something is wrong and troubling it. but they also prefer to be nice and ask you to leave them alone. If not, they become violent and peck you relentlessly. These Pokemon are surprisingly intelligent. Not just can Noctowl understand people's emotions just by looking at their faces, as well as read minds, they also can read books as well as words, and they easily can learn a different language. Just like with their previous evolution Hoothoot, they have a precise set of time, so they know how to adapt very quickly. All Noctowl's horns are shaped differently, but they always grow. They mark their nests with their horns, as this is their own language, and every other Noctowl understands what they say. The larger the horns are, the older and more experienced the Noctowl is, to a point where some of them just use psychic moves rather than normal type. Speaking of which, despite being a normal type, Noctowl's big brain and powerful mind have awoken their psychic powers. While sleeping in the day, it charges them so it can use it during the night. Some nocturnal Pokemon become followers of Noctowl because of its wisdom. There are even some who see Noctowl as a teacher because of its wise lessons. Noctowl made its debut in the Johto Journeys episode, Foul Play, where it appeared as a shiny Pokemon. It was also the very first shiny Pokemon to ever appear in the anime, and it was captured by Ash Ketchum himself. Normal and Flying is the most common dual typing you'll ever find, as almost every region has introduced one, and Hoothoot as well as Noctowl are no exception. Even with this common typing, these Pokemon have a few weaknesses to moves which are none other than Ice type, Rock type, and Electric type. Even with all three of these weaknesses, this will not change these Pokemon, as Hoothoot and Noctowl will fly high. Also, because of this very common typing of Normal and Flying, Hoothoot and Noctowl have a few strengths, as their flying type moves not only soar very high, but are also super effective on Pokemon who are Grass type, Bug type, and Fighting type. This is a pretty nice split for Hoothoot and Noctowl, having 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses. Normally, we would end things here, however, this is not the end, as both of these owl Pokemon have a few immunities, as their dual typing works very well to prevent them from being hurt by moves which are Ground type, as Hoothoot and Noctowl's flying type makes them unable to be hurt by any sort of ground moves. And Noctowl and Hoothoot have a complete immunity to moves that are Ghost type. These Pokemon are out every single night. They've seen what goes bump in the night, so Ghost type moves won't scare them. Having it all, weaknesses, strengths, and immunity is why the reason the Normal and Flying type is the most common, but with this on Hoothoot and Noctowl, it makes them one of the best of this kind. All Pokemon have something special when they battle. It's called an ability. Noctowl and Hoothoot, like most Pokemon, have 2. However, they can only have one of 2 abilities, as they can either have Insomnia, or they can have Keen Eye as their ability. A Hoothoot and Noctowl with the ability Insomnia will never fall asleep in battle. Then again, these owl Pokemon stay awake more hours than most others. They are nocturnal creatures after all, so sleep is not really a thing for them. For a Noctowl and Hoothoot with the ability Keen Eye, their eyes are so good that they're really hard to blind and even lower their accuracy. I've said it many times, but these Pokemon have some of the greatest eyesight in the world. And for those who like to battle competitively using hidden abilities that Generation 5 introduced, both these owl Pokemon have the hidden ability Tinted Lenses. You see, both Noctowl and Hoothoot know they have moves that are not very effective, but because of their eyesight, they know how to use their non-effective moves to their advantage, as they know where the weak points are and can still do a lot of damage. Doesn't matter what type is super effective or not very effective. As a bird Pokemon trainer and expert, I admire both of these fantastic owl Pokemon. The idea of introducing nocturnal Pokemon was awesome, but I especially love the whole clock aspect going for both Hoothoot and Noctowl too. It really makes them a standout, not just to most bird Pokemon, but also making them owls, as they're such amazing birds. While this line is very special, I would love to see them get regional variants. In my opinion, since these Pokemon can learn a lot of Psychic moves, I think Flying and Psychic would be great, but even a Flying and Dark type would be great, especially seeing that these Pokemon come out during the night. It also seems like a missed opportunity that Pokemon didn't make them Dark and Flying type, because they already introduced Dark type. Something that I really love the most about Noctowl and Hoothoot was that even though they're birds, they were the first ones not to be based off of common birds. But we did get a lot of flying types back in Generation 1. It was great to finally see something that wasn't a normal bird, but rather instead a bird of the night. We really needed more of these. And as time's gone on, I'm happy to say these Pokemon really laid down the foundation of what else we could get. While the nightlife is fun, as well as so much can happen, it can be very scary as it's very dark and you don't know what goes bump in the night. But having these owl Pokemon to guide you not only will make it fun, but it also just might awaken the night owl within you. If you want to become nocturnal and experience the joys under the moon, I'd say the best way to go is the way of the night owls. Welcome back, trainers. Did you enjoy learning about our night owls? Are you going to become one yourself? Or do you think that you prefer more time under the sun and you're going to become an early bird? Well, either way it goes, sleep is still sleep. However, before we end this, I have a few questions for all of you. Currently, every region to date has introduced the regional bird to all of us. Do you ever go for the regional bird? If so, who's your favorite, as well as who was the first regional bird you ever caught? Have you ever raised yourself a Hoothoot into a Noctowl? If you have, what was your experience having this Pokemon? Also, do you think that you're going to try it now after watching this video? In the recent Switch games, Pokemon Legends Arceus, as well as Scarlet and Violet, the nocturnal Pokemon and time of the day thing has come back. Do you think that's great and that should happen for future generations? Or is it better just to have the day and night thing just be its own thing? And currently, who's your favorite bird Pokemon of all time that is flying type? As well as who's the first bird Pokemon that you've ever used? I hope that you enjoyed learning as much as you could about our owl friends, Hoothoot and Noctowls. If you liked what you saw, then please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want me to talk about something going on in the current events of Pokemon, you want me to maybe make a Pokemon theory or something else Pokemon related, or you want me to maybe talk about the upcoming games, then please comment. And as always, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. As a Pokemon professor, it's my job to teach trainers like all of you, so feel free to share my videos if you do. And thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out!